Hi and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today we're making focaccia. And it's just fresh out of the oven, so it's quite hot. We're making the simple kind, so no real toppings. Just a bit of rosmarin, sea salt and some olive oil. Obviously you can make it whatever you want on top, but for what I needed for today, it should be plain. We made this with lievito madre or mother yeast. I think you also call it sourdough starter. Looks like that. And if you're interested in how to make that, leave a comment below and I'll happily make a video about that too. But yeah, so it took me 3 days. Well, it didn't take me 3 days. It took the dough 3 days to get ready. So I started this video 3 days ago. And yeah, let's get cooking. But before we do that, don't forget to click subscribe. Please like the video. And if you want to be kept updated on new content, just also click the bell icon so that you get a notification. But now it's time. Let's get, well, not cooking actually, let's get baking. Here we have the ingredients for the focaccia. It's 400 grams of 00 flour, 100 grams of semolina flour. I'm sorry, I lost the battery, well, didn't lose, I ran out of battery in my microphone. But it's 100 grams of lievito madre or sourdough starter. We call ours Benedetta because obviously you have to give it a name. It's 12 grams of salt, 15 grams of olive oil, and 425 grams of water. That's all you need to make the focaccia. You start by mixing both of the flours together with the water. This will start a process called Autolyse. And it's a process that takes minimum of 20 minutes, but you can go up to an hour. And it just makes sure that all the flour is hydrated. So you just mix the flour with the water as good as you can. You don't have to knead it, it's just mixing. And then you just leave it to stand for at least 20 minutes and the flour and the water does the rest of the job itself. But it's an important step, so don't skip this. Apologies, first of all. As you could see, I ran out of batteries for my microphone, so I had to do a voiceover of the first part. But yeah, we're here. About 30 minutes later, I charged the microphone. The dough is ready to be put in the machine. But first, before we do that, we'll add the Benedetta, the lievito madre. So it's 100 grams of that. If you're interested and want me to show you how to make your own lievito madre, just leave a comment below and maybe I'll make a video about that too. Put this into the machine. Put the hook on. And I will first knead it for about 4 minutes on slow speed. And then we'll add the salt and the olive oil at a bit of a higher speed. But let's get started with the first 4 minutes on low speed. It's now been 4 minutes and we'll add the salt. Increase the speed a bit. And also the olive oil. I will leave that for another 4 minutes. In the meantime, we'll prepare the resting place for the dough for the next, I would say probably 3 days. Put some olive oil in there so it doesn't stick. And like that, we're ready when this is ready. So there we are. Thank God. Peace and quiet again. So 4 minutes slow, then another 4 minutes on high speed while adding olive oil and the salt. scrape it off the dough hook. We want all the good stuff, or at least as much as we can. And then now we're gonna put it in to here, where we'll spend the next 3 days. There we are. Now, before you put it in the fridge, we'll let it stand outside for 2 hours, and we'll do some stretching and folding. I will show you that as well. We'll do a stretch and fold after 1 hour, and then again after 2 hours, and then it goes into the fridge. So, see you soon. So, as you can see, the cap is back on. Feel more comfortable. It's been an hour. It's time to stretch and fold now for the first time. So what we'll do is grab a hold of it, get some oil on your fingers, lift it up, fold over, take it from the side, lift it up again, fold over, take it from the back, lift it up, fold over, and from the last side, lift it up and fold over. So that's all we need to do. Now we'll wait another hour, then we'll do the process again, and then it's into the fridge for 3 days. So it's been 2 hours now, and it's time for the last stretch and fold. And it's all in the name, you stretch and you fold. There we go. Get the hands clean. And then we put the lid on this. It will work its magic during 3 days in the fridge. Let's get it in there. So, I'll see you in 3 days. Welcome back. It's been 3 days and our focaccia baby has been in the fridge, basically growing and just having a good time. Let's get it out. Look at this. Looks pretty amazing. Let's let it rest now for 2 hours here on the tray. Let's open this baby up. Ah. I don't know if you can see it there, but the bubbles. Oh, now we'll transfer the dough over to this oven tray here with some baking paper in it. Look at that bubble. Spread it out a little bit. So, there we are. Now we'll leave it in room temperature for another 2 hours to let it rise again. And then we'll prepare it and pop it in the oven. Here we are, 2 hours later. I'll try to show you these beautiful bubbles. So we're now ready to put it in the oven. But before we do that, we'll decorate it a bit. Just put your fingers in a bit like this. Some additional olive oil, just a drizzle on top. Some rosmarin. If you want, you can make this basically anyway. you feel like. You can put some mozzarella, some sun-dried tomatoes, some fresh tomatoes. But for what I'm using it for this time, I prefer it plain, just with some rosmarin, some olive oil, and a little bit of sea salt. There we go. We're ready to put it in the oven. It's preheated to 250 degrees Celsius, upper and lower heat. It goes in there quite low in the oven for 10 minutes on 250, and then you turn it down to 210, and it should take another 15 to 20 minutes. You have to check it a bit. If you're not happy with the coloring after the 15 minutes at 210 degrees, I would put it up a bit so that it gets closest to the upper and it will color a bit better. But I'll put it in now, and then we'll check in basically when it's done. That's the sound we're looking for. Look at this beauty. We'll get it off onto here so it can cool off. And I'll let it cool now for probably, I don't know, 20 minutes or so before we cut it open to have a look what it looks like inside. But it smells pretty good and looks great. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. It's not really cool yet, but I cannot wait to try it. So I will cut a piece and then we can let it cool afterwards. Pretty amazing. Look at the structure. I'm just going to do a taster. I will let it cool down properly. That was a big taster, smaller taster. It's so good. And it really makes a difference to use the mother yeast, the sourdough starter. Gives this nice kind of sour, very slight sour note. This is actually what I use to make the tuna sandwich, and I'll leave a link up there to the tuna sandwich recipe. The tuna sandwich with this, perfect. And you see, it's so simple to make. If you don't have mother yeast, you can do it with normal yeast too. You just need to plan. If you know that you're going to have guests on the weekend and you want to make focaccia, then you make the dough on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on which day you have the guests. The rest, the dough does itself in the fridge. It's simple. It just takes a bit of planning. So I hope you try it out. It's definitely worth it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, stay tuned for more content to come. Thank you very much for this time. Bye bye.
Give me something good.